Hi writing class, welcome back to another lesson. Amazing work yesterday working on part 1 of your test. So great job in part A putting the letter P in front of each sentence that should start a new paragraph. Awesome job in part B making sure to add in your missing quotation marks and commas. In part C you guys did a great job making sure to fix up the 4 unclear words. And also in part D you guys did a fantastic job adding in your missing commas. So remember, if a sentence begins with a part that tells when, or it begins with the words if, although, or unless, you had to add a comma to that sentence. So great job. For today's class, we're going to be looking at lesson 40, and we're going to be looking at part E. So this is going to be the second half of your test. So what you're going to need to do is look at this picture. So I'll go through the instructions, and what you're going to have to do is write a story based on this image. So let's look at part E. You're going to write a story that tells what happened. The picture in part E shows people doing things and talking. You're going to write a story that reports on what they said and on what they did. The first sentence of your story is written above the picture. So I'll read it to you. Right, so once again, your story is going to report on what the people are doing in this picture and also what they're saying. At the top over here, we have the beginning of your story. So your first sentence of your story is going to say, Mr. Jones left his wallet at home when he went to the restaurant. Then we also have some people in the story. So I'll read some exact words that they say, right? So we have here Mr. Jones, and then we can see his exact words are, I am sorry, I don't have any money with me. We can also see other people named in this picture, right? We see Mrs. Jones, and what is she doing? We can see that there are some customers here having dinner, and then we can see there's a lady here. If we look closely on her name tag, we can see that her name is Rose, right? And we can also see that she's saying some exact words. Her exact words are, that is a problem. And then we also have in the back here, right, we have somebody washing dishes. And they also say some exact words. Their exact words are, it looks like I'll be getting some help soon. So remember, each time a new person speaks, you must begin a new paragraph. So your story will have to have at least 3 paragraphs because, right, we have 1, 2, 3 different people speaking. We also have some words in our vocabulary box to help us when writing this story. You don't need to use all of these words, but they're there to help you when writing your story. So you have the word embarrassed, money, glared, dishwasher, and expensive. So be sure to spell those words correctly if you plan to use them in your story. And then the most important part is we have on the bottom 4 checks. So we want to make sure we go through each of these checks after you're done writing your story and before we start writing our story so we know what we have to have in our story. So I'll read the checks. Check 1 asks you, is each sentence punctuated correctly? Don't forget, if you're going to write exact words that somebody said, we need to have quotation marks around those words. Remember to start each sentence with a capital letter. Don't forget that people are proper nouns, so you have to make sure that their names start with a capital letter. And then at the end of each of your sentences, you'll need an end mark. So either a question mark if you're asking a question, or if it's a regular sentence, you'll need a period. Check 2 asks us, did you begin at least 1 sentence with a part that tells when? So one of your sentences in your whole story has to begin with a part that tells when. If you could please underline that part so I could see it easier, that'd be great. Check 3 asks you, are there any unclear words in your paragraphs? So remember, before you can use the words he, she, they, or it, you first have to name the person, the people, or the object in the previous sentence. If you don't do that, then the word will be unclear. And then check 4 just reminds you to start a new paragraph when another person started speaking. So each time a new person speaks, don't forget to start a new paragraph. And in addition, for today's test, I will be available on Zoom from 11 to 11:30 if you have any questions. So once again, my meeting ID will be the same that I use for all of my meetings, and the password will be the same. So the meeting ID will be 712-830-9659, and the password will be Wildwood with a capital W. If you have any questions, please let me know. So great job. So once again, you're going to be writing a story based on this image. Don't forget to look over your 4 checks. Don't forget to start a new paragraph each time a new person speaks. And if you have any questions with your test, I'm going to be available on Zoom from 11 to 11:30. You can just drop on by and I'll be glad to help you. So keep up the awesome work and I'll see you on Friday.